So today we're talking about evaluating guitar players.
Right.
That
seems to be on YouTube. That seems to be a fun thing to do, apparently.
To some people.
To some people, they would consider it a win or a victory to...
yeah.
To
like a musical win to rate guitar players.
Which is a very... I'm not sure what the critiquing palette is. I don't know, but it's flawed. I know that. I do know that.
Yeah, and that's the thing about art.
Right.
And that's why art critics got no use for you.
Right.
There are people whose opinions on art I respect.
Sure.
Maybe that could be a critic that I subscribe to. But in general, if you're critiquing someone's art that you don't understand, save your breath, my friend.
And you'll notice that like some of the most relaxed criticism out there come from the most accomplished musicians or artists in general. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of criticism comes from self-doubt and insecurity.
It is, dude. It's always just a projection. It's a projection of your most quiet insecurity.
Yeah. So to say that somebody sucks at guitar, or to evaluate somebody as a 4 out of 10, 6 out of 10, I think is just so wrong.
Right.
Because if it's a musician that you've heard of, a guitar player, guess what? They're a competent guitar player.
Right.
If they've made it to the point that they have recordings, they, to a certain extent, can operate the instrument in a way that isn't just awful.
Right. Because like, think about musicians who get that, like, oh, they're the worst at it kind of thing. Meg White.
Yeah.
And Lars.
Yeah. Lars sucks at drums.
But the reality is if you see Lars just on a kit, like warming up, you're like, oh man, this guy's nasty.
Yeah. If he sat in with like the local band, he'd torch it.
Right.
Yeah. And this Lars.
Obviously. He would.
But that's also the great thing about debating music with people. Is like you can say Metallica sucks, Lars sucks, and it's fun. It's fun to have with your buddies.
Right, and it's fun to get a rise, especially when you know your buddies, to say like, "Hey, like Zeppelin, by the way, is like super overrated."
Yeah. Jump on him.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, all right.
What was Elliott Smith so sad about?
Yeah, he's such an ass. But today we're talking about a little bit about the reality of evaluating guitar players, and how so much of it is like, can they shred? So it seems to be all about the shredding, is how fast you can play, and I think that's so wrong.
Well, it's wrong because it's not necessarily musical.
There's nothing musical about it.
Right, and so when you talk about shredders, it's as if all guitar players are created equally. It's like a shredder is somebody is certainly talented, but it's more of an athletic feat than it is a musical one.
And I admire that.
Right, and that's not to say it's a lesser talent than a musical one, but it's a separate thing entirely.
Yeah.
Because think about it, like the muscle memory and the practice and the discipline it takes to shred, whatever.
Yeah.
It is its own skill set, apart from what you're playing. If it has like a musical substance,
for sure,
whatever that even means.
Exactly.
So,
yeah, I'm not particularly a shredder myself.
No.
I can maybe shred for 5 seconds at a time.
Right.
That's all I need to shred for. You know, I feel like maybe if I wanted to be, I could, but we'll never know because that's not what it's.
I have better things to do.
Exactly. Again, it's probably gonna sound like we're hating on shredders a lot during this video. And we definitely are.
To a large extent.
To a huge extent.
That's exactly what we're doing. But at the same time, like, I think there's a difference between like hating it and like discrediting it. I'm not discrediting it.
Not at all.
Right.
And in certain contexts, it's the greatest thing in the world.
Right. And in another context, though, they do it all themselves.
Yeah. Which, let's start bringing up some names.
Okay.
We're talking about. Okay?
Sure.
So I think the king of this whole conversation is Malmsteen.
Right.
Yngwie Malmsteen.
So like every cliche.
Do you notice how that just started hissing when I brought up his name? Like some Voldemort crap going on.
Right. Just like, saying it, you get unnecessary noise in your mix.
Yeah, gee.
You start getting unnecessary stuff in the song.
I look at my air conditioning unit, it has like a gold chain around it all of a sudden.
Where do you get that Rolex?
Man, weird. Yeah.
And I feel like every shredder cliche kind of started from the top and trickled down.
Yeah,
Trickle down,
like shredding does.
Right, right.
That's really beautiful.
Right.
So I'm not a Malmsteen
fan. It's the Reaganomics of shredding.
Exactly.
So that's like the trope, right? The gaudy, like shirt open, gold chain, like long curly hair, like that. It started kind of there.
It's like, this is kind of a joke to me. Not even kind of a joke. This is one of the funniest jokes I've ever seen. And the fact that he's not in on it at all is just
makes it way better.
It's the best.
Right.
Yeah.
Because if it was like kind of tongue-in-cheek about it, he was like, yeah, it's kind of a mess, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You know, because even like Slash to a certain extent, like the hat thing, even he's kind of like, yeah, we're here.
Yeah, sure. I get it.
It'd be weird if I didn't have it.
You know who the best is at that? Sidetrack? Satchel from Steel Panther. He's incredible.
Well,
He shreds his ass off, and he's just like, oh,
like hilarious,
this guy's the man.
But I think that's Steel Panther as a whole.
Yeah,
It's like the whole thing is a humongous joke, and they're better for it.
Yeah,
because the audience knows that they're just being honest about it.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
There's no honesty in Malmsteen's playing.
No.
I don't listen to Yngwie Malmsteen and feel the pain that he's gone through as a man.
Through his playing?
No, not through his playing.
Of course.
I mean,
or his scalped frets on his Strat.
Yeah, that's something else entirely. If you've never played those scalloped frets, if you don't know, is like where you like carve out the inside of the fret so there's no resistance to your playing. I think we got our hands on that same Malmsteen Strat. Yeah. And we're just like, whoa!
Like, it actually is kind of cool.
Yeah, it's like,
and then I remember like justifying it for a second. I'm like, I mean, it kind of makes sense for like my style playing.
Yeah.
You're not owning that.
Yeah, and then I tried playing like a major 7 chord and it was like, it's like, oh.
Hey, you can't do the major 7s.
Yeah, for sure. So also in that vein, would be Steve Vai, Satriani, Petrucci. So,
but it's a really important statement. Petrucci should not be lumped in there entirely. He should be kind of get his own call.
I think John Petrucci is the quintessential example of tasteful shredding.
Because in a previous video when we talked about Mayer, it's never away from the first priority, that is being musical.
That's right.
Like Petrucci's playing never leaves. Like there's a lot of great Petrucci solos where it's like a shred factory for sure, but it's always melodic and there's always a musical purpose. It's not just like, hey, watch me do this thing you've heard me do in 20 other tracks and 20 other albums.
He is a member of the band Dream Theater.
Right.
He's not, I'm going to see Satriani. I'm going to see Dream Theater.
Right.
And Petrucci's going to kill it.
And Dream Theater has, for like guys who are into virtuosos, Dream Theater has like a lot of reasons to go see Dream Theater concerts.
Every part of it.
Every member of it is kind of, members have come and gone, but they're always a reason to go see it,
Yeah. So again, that would bring us to like Steve Vai, who I think is honestly probably the best player out of all of them. Yeah. If we're just evaluating, like no guitar player is better than Steve Vai.
Right. All things equal, Steve Vai is probably the. It's weird. It's even weird talking about this because it's like a whole like part of guitar playing that I couldn't like care less about.
Yeah.
Because it's so. Because you know
it's
my wheelhouse.
It's so good. I don't know.
I just don't know what to do with it.
For sure. But it's so good. It's so good.
Because I know guitar players who I respect who are like passionate about it, and they have credibility with me. So I'm like, it means something. And I listen to them like, wow, that's incredible.
Yeah, like I could never say anything bad about Steve Vai because he's just the best.
Right.
But it's just not something that I am interested in because I personally see guitar as part of like a bigger storytelling instrument.
Yeah.
That can mesh with other instruments. However, you know what I mean?
Yeah. But on that same note, I think what makes Petrucci a little bit different, and this is maybe a loose segue, but all the same, is I think what makes him great at guitar, because it is so musically focused, would make him great at anything. It's just guitar is what he picked.
Yep, for sure. And
that's kind of the thing about like when you rate guitars, which isn't fair. Like if you rate, for instance, like a Johnny Greenwood, Radiohead, who he's not just my favorite guitarist of all time, because people think it's Mayer. Mayer's not my favorite guitarist of all time. It's absolutely Johnny Greenwood. But he's also one of my favorite musicians of all time. Like his musicianship like totally transcends guitar playing. For him at least, you know what I mean?
Of course.
He's just a vital member in a band in which he's required to play guitar. But his musicianship is so vast that it could have been anything. It was just guitar with his buddies. And I think that's a really important distinction. Like I'm not sure that these virtuosos that would exist in anything else. I think it's just a guitar playing thing.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know, but I'm not sure their musicianship would translate into being the most heartfelt pianist or a luscious cello player or whatever.
Of course.
I think it exists in guitar playing.
And that's like if you were to have like one of those like bands do like a symphonic arrangement or like an acoustic piano set of Steve Vai songs, I don't even know what that would sound like.
Right.
But like Radiohead, it's beautiful. People have done it. It's amazing.
Yeah.
The songs are fantastic. Johnny Greenwood's composition chops, his voicings, everything that he chooses, that's what makes him a great player. It's not his ability to shred. But he can do whatever he wants anyways.
Right. And I think a lot of the arguments like he's such like a sparse player. He's not really like and that's kind of because he knows what not to play. And along the way, a very wise man once told me, as applies to a mix in guitar playing as in life, it's not necessarily about what you bring, it's what you choose to leave out. And I think Greenwood is the embodiment of that philosophy.
For sure.
Right.
So good.
And I think about that in a lot of players. Like a lot of players don't get the respect of being a great guitar player because they don't feel it necessary to flex that muscle.
Of course.
Where it's more important to like showcase like your writing. And if your flashy guitar player ever gets into the writing, it's not serving the song as that's needed.
You see this all the time in live settings. When you have a band, say you have like a 4 or 5 piece band or whatever.
Sure.
Right? There's always the part where they're kind of jamming. The singer gets on, he's like, "Let's hear it for the whatever." Says the drummer's name, and the drummer flexes for a minute. Let's hear it for the bass player. Bass player just shreds for a minute. That's always the most boring part of the concert for me.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, like I get
it.
Like you got to throw them a bone or something like that. Like, why do you need to do that? Why is that necessary?
It should speak for its.
Yeah, I am all about giving everybody in the band shine, but I always thought it was weird. It's like, let's just have them kind of go on a journey themselves.
But with the understanding that they have to reel it in 20
yeah, and then get back to your role, like get back to your corner.
Yeah,
it devalues
it kind of does
the role of being a good musician.
Because like a great bass player just needs to stay in the pocket.
Yeah,
and that's not a bad thing. Like I'm a bass player. Like that's like your job is to stay in the pocket. So now you're saying, okay, for 20 seconds, try to like say something out of the pocket that now means that you're worthy of this call out.
Yeah, it's like let me
unrealistic.
Yank your leash out of the shadows, dog.
Yeah,
look at the sun.
Roll over.
How about it? Now get back. Get back in the corner.
Right. This is an unrealistic expectation.
Yeah, I always thought that was a weird thing about
especially in like, and I maybe like this now talking about projection. This is me projecting, especially for a bass player. You know, it's like what are you just supposed to go into like some slap odyssey in 20 seconds and bring it back? Yeah. I'm like, well, I'm supposed to just like start performing. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
That's always how I felt about that.
It's like when I get invited to like parties and I'm getting like, hey, thanks for having me. Oh, let's go live on your YouTube channel. I'm just like, is that why I'm here?
Yeah. Would you ask if you were a dentist? Would they ask you to clean their teeth?
Yeah. No, absolutely not.
What do you do?
Disrespect.
You work in Excel?
Yeah.
Pull it up.
Yeah, let's do it. I've got some taxes and stuff I need to do.
Write a formula about this awkward interaction.
Absolutely not.
Right.
So Johnny Greenwood.
Yeah.
I would evaluate him upper level. That's why I like saying someone's a 6 out of 10, a 7 out of 10, a 9 out of 10, a 10 out of 10. It's like you learn an instrument until you're proficient and you are able to say and express what you want to express.
Right.
And then
how do you rate somebody what does 10 look like? Are you the fastest? Because that's totally irrelevant.
Yeah. Awesome.
But yeah, but I think Greenwood's at the point where he can say exactly what he's thinking.
For sure.
At all times.
Yeah. But then you put him up against like one of the Dragon Force guys. It's like, okay.
But that's why it's like to say that, oh, this is what guitar playing is. Well yeah, the whole foundation of what we're building this argument off is flawed anyway. It's like, well, what is guitar playing?
Yeah.
Because as far as I'm concerned, I've seen Greenwood live plenty times now, thankfully, and it's as good as I've ever seen it. But it's not fast, but it's perfect.
Exactly.
It's to me, it's like a flawless expression. And so I don't know. Like I always hated that because on top of already talking about it like a super subjective thing anyway, we're adding your own personal critique to it too, and I also feel like it can get careless. Well, here are the circumstances that I see it, so therefore it's lower. Or whatever.
You know who I think probably gets the most hate as a guitar player ever for this is The Edge.
Oh,
I think he might be number 1.
But he did it himself because he calls himself The Edge.
Exactly. Which brings us to the main...
It's back to the Malmsteen chain.
There needs to be a self-awareness about it.
Right.
If you're kind of in on the joke, it's cool.
But when you call yourself The Edge, it's a problem. So, and think about it, though. And think about the difference it would be if Malmsteen... Forget all the weird scars, something like that, and he was just like totally in on. He's like, yeah, it's kind of crazy, right?
Yeah.
I just kind of learned how to do this. It's insane. Like, check this out. This is like Bach something or another in D. What do you think, man?
Yeah.
And like, was just like dapping you up.
Just a little bit of like humble nature. Like he's so humble, but he can shred like.
But like he's like, think about like the credit because then you and I had become to his defense like the mayor thing. It was like, yeah, but secretly, did you know that this really nice guy is like prodigy level guitar player?
Yeah.
But instead, it's like. You know.
Like imagine if Johnny Greenwood was walking around like, see what I did with that minor 4 chord there, like a boss.
Yeah.
It's like
strat drop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Weird.
Pick it up.
Like that's a weird thing to like hang your hat on.
But instead he's like mute. He just doesn't.
Yeah, he just doesn't speak. It's like whatever. If you like it, that's cool. If you don't, that's fine. That's
hopefully we'll make a record you do like.
Yeah.
But maybe not.
Exactly.
It's not for me to say.
So when it comes to evaluating guitar players, drop the. It's so archaic.
Just don't.
Yeah. It's 2017.
Right.
Yeah.
There's no
7 out of 10. Come on, please. You're embarrassing yourself. You're embarrassing me. You're making everyone uncomfortable.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
It's like
talking about a lack of self-awareness.
Yeah,
right?
Totally.
Are you aware of how uncomfortable somebody might feel as an audience member hearing that? And you know what? And as an audience member who made it to the couch, thank you for not doing that.
I never will.
Thank you for not doing that.
This couch is a judgment-free zone.
That's not entirely true, but it won't rate guitar players.
Anyways, speaking of great guitar players, check out this guy's acoustic piano album. Because it's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's fluid. Yeah.
And we're going to link it in the description. And then if you want any more topics, let us know.
Yeah, I'll fly out here more often.
Anytime.
Yeah.
Till next time, everybody.
Thanks, guys.